More often than not, your data is not going to have it neat and tidy. If this is true, do this. If it's not, do that. Oftentimes there might be some little monkey wrench thrown in there, a third option perhaps. A perfect example of that is any sporting event that could possibly end in a tie. There's not always going to be a clear-cut winner. There could be a tie in there that means neither team won the game. So we have this data here that it's essentially a schedule of games, and it has who was the home team and who was the visit team and what each of their score was, but the data doesn't at all indicate who won. And I would like to do an analysis that looks at this a couple of ways. First of all, the actual name of the team that truly won. Was it the New Orleans Saints or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And then was it the home team that won or the visit team won? Of course, we know that a lot of times we've heard that that home teams tend to win more games than visiting teams. So this data could help us do that. So in this case, we're going to have to use what's called a nested if statement. First to look and see if there's a tie, and then we can go on and determine who won the game if it's not a tie. Let's just start with some basic. How would we determine if there's a tie? That is a basic if statement that we could just try out here as a little practice run. If F2 equals G2, then that's a tie. If not, it's not a tie, right? Make this a little bigger. There we go. So we do have a few ties here. There's one of the first games there has a tie. So that's just a very simple, straightforward if statement that is not nested. But what we need to do now in order to find out which team won the game, was it the Tampa Bay or New Orleans, we need to first look and see if it's a tie. So what we're going to do is take this if statement and nest it inside another if statement. If you remember, an if statement has the criteria, the true and the false portion. So what we're going to do is going to put that tie if statement in here, and if it's true, we're going to tell it to put the word tie in here. If it's false, we're going to put a whole nother if statement right in the middle, right where the false portion would be. You could put it either in the true portion or the false portion, whichever you want, but you can see that it's going to just sit right there in the middle, right where a false would normally be. And that will effectively handle all other cases. So, as I said, we're going to start with, is there a tie? So we already did this one, but we're going to do it again. If F2 equals G2, then we have a tie. Now here's the false portion. So we're going to do another one, and now we're going to say, is F2 greater than G2? So did the home team have a higher score than the visit team? Then if so, that means that the home team won. The name of that team is in D2. If it's false, that means the visit team won and their name is in E2. You got to remember to close all the parentheses, hit enter, and there we go, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You should see here you go, it says a tie. So what effectively happened is on this one it said, you know, does F4 equal G4? Yep, it does, so it's going to be a tie, and it ended right there. On this one, though, it said, is F5 equal to G5? Nope, that's not true, so then it jumped over to the other if statement and said, is F5 greater than G5? Nope, that's not true, so then it jumped all the way over to E5, and it grabbed the name Cincinnati Bengals and dropped it in here. So now, as you've seen how we've done a couple of different things with this, we put words in the cell, or we grabbed contents from another column. So here, if we want to do, you can also do things like do math. You can add things together. You can calculate values between two fields. Anything is possible in those true and false portions of the formula. Here I want to either drop the word visit or the word home in, depending on which one won. And it's really going to be the same formula that we just did. So with just a slight tweak. So first we got to look for the tie again. If F2 equals G2, then it's a tie. If not, then we're going to look for is F2 greater than G2, then that means the home team won. If not, the visit team won. Close all the parentheses, and now we get either the visit or the home. And of course you want to make sure that all of them got a good value. You'd get an error message if there's a problem for some reason with the underlying data. In this case, that might happen if somehow there's a missing score, or there's some strange value in one of these, like if there's a letter in there or something, it might throw it off. But now you've seen how a basic nested if statement works. You can nest lots and lots of if statements. If there is a limit, I've never hit it. It does get quite complicated after a while. As you can see, this already is pretty a long formula, so I wouldn't recommend doing too many. But you could very easily do 3 nested statements if you needed to. You just need to think carefully through the order of operations. So in this case, notice that I chose to look for the tie first, because it's nice and easy, get that out of the way, and then look to see what else is going on. If you're putting a third nested if statement, that order of operations becomes even more crucial. And the other thing I've discovered is that sometimes you just have to do trial and error and see what happens. Sometimes I tell it to put some, like the giant word flag or something strange in one of the spots to try to catch, to see where it's landing on the true or the false portion of one of my if statements, to make sure that it's working properly.